Hi there. Do you know how HMRC uses smart city cameras to prove unpaid work in the UK? Well, let's explore it.
What if your daily drive to work could actually trigger a full-blown tax investigation? It honestly sounds like something out of a movie, doesn't it? But for UK businesses, especially as we head into 2026, this is becoming the new reality. Today, we're looking at some incredible insights put together by the tax experts at ProTax Accountant. They've figured out exactly how HMRC is connecting the dots between our digital tax returns and what's happening on our actual streets. Let's get right into it. So, let's start with a big question. For every single business owner, freelancer, or contractor out there, could your car be the key witness in a case against you? I mean, think about it. Your daily commute, the time you arrive at a client's site, the time you leave the workshop late at night. What if all of that location data was being quietly collected and used to build a tax case? It's a pretty startling thought, and it's exactly what we're going to break down today. Look, we're all pretty used to HMRC's digital powers by now, right? We know they can see our bank statements, our online sales, our digital tax records, but the game has completely changed. HMRC is now looking beyond the spreadsheets, beyond the paperwork, and into the physical world to check if what you're telling them is actually true. And this is where it gets really interesting for anyone running a business. So to really get our heads around this, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll meet HMRC's powerful digital detective. Then, we'll uncover its all-seeing eye out there in the real world. After that, we'll see how this tech is being used in two huge areas: proving unpaid work and sniffing out disguised employment. And stick with me, because at the end, we'll go through the crucial steps you need to take to stay safe. Okay, Section 1. HMRC's Digital Detective. Before we can get to how a camera on your local high street connects to your tax bill, we first have to understand the powerful AI brain that sits at the very heart of HMRC's entire operation. And that brain has a name. It's called Connect. Now, this isn't just some big spreadsheet. You need to think of it more like a super smart AI-powered detective. Its one and only job is to suck in billions of pieces of data from all over the place to build this incredibly detailed 360-degree picture of your financial life. It's always looking for patterns, for links, and most importantly, for anything that doesn't quite add up. That's what gets you flagged. And the sheer scale of this is, well, it's just staggering. The Connect system holds over 55 billion separate pieces of data. Yeah, that's billion with a B. 55 billion. This is so much more than your tax return. It's this giant digital spider web of your life. What you earn, what you own, where you live, what you sell, all sitting in one place, ready for an algorithm to pick apart. And is it working for them? You bet it is. In the last tax year alone, the intel from Connect helped HMRC pull in an extra £4.6 billion. Just to put that into perspective, that's enough to build several massive new hospitals. So this is not some theoretical tool sitting in a basement. It is an active, aggressive, money-making machine that's firing up thousands of investigations every single year. So where on earth is all this data coming from? Well, a lot of it is the stuff you'd probably expect. It gets data from every UK bank and even international ones. It pulls from the land registry and the DVLA, so it knows what property you own and what cars you drive. It also scrapes info from tenancy schemes, big digital platforms like eBay, Airbnb, and Just Eat, your credit card company, and even what you post publicly on social media. It connects every single dot. Okay, on to Section 2, the all-seeing eye. So we know just how powerful Connect is with all that digital data. But now, here's the part that catches so many business owners completely off guard. We're about to move from the digital world into the physical one. Because you see, for all the power of those digital records, HMRC always had one big gap in its knowledge, proving what actually happened in the real world, minute by minute, day by day. Well, that gap is now closing, and it's closing fast. HMRC has found a new source of data to track your physical movements, and it's the network of cameras that are watching us all every single day. And listen, this isn't some conspiracy theory. As this quote from the Algorithmic Eye report makes crystal clear, the law actually allows it. Automatic number plate recognition, or ANPR data, can be legally used for tax enforcement. The technology that was built for policing now has a very powerful second job. Now that phrase, tool of last resort, is key. It means they can't just go on a fishing expedition, but if their other data already flags you as a risk, they absolutely can use this as hard evidence. I mean, just take a moment and think about how huge this network of cameras really is.
You've got the official police ANPR cameras on motorways and main roads. Then you've got all the local council cameras for things like the London ULEZ, congestion zones and bus lanes. And on top of all that, you have this massive, sprawling network of private ANPR cameras in supermarket car parks, shopping centres and petrol stations. All of them are logging your vehicle's movements, building a detailed, time-stamped map of your life.
So how does this actually work? Well, it's a pretty simple 4-step process. First, an ANPR camera snaps your number plate. Second, that data, your plate, the exact time, the exact location, is sent to a huge national database. Third, and this is the really clever bit, HMRC's Connect system is given access and its AI starts comparing your car's movements with your business's tax records. And finally, step 4, if it finds a mismatch, an anomaly between where you physically were and where your records say you were, it flags your file for a human investigator to look at.
Right, Section 3, proving unpaid work. Now let's look at the first massive real-world example of how this is being used. And please stay with me here, because how this connects to your staff's wages is absolutely crucial for any employer in the UK. Okay, here's a pro tip from the team at ProTax Accountant. And honestly, this catches so many good businesses out. Most national minimum wage investigations aren't because an employer is deliberately paying, say, £9 an hour instead of the legal minimum. Nope. The vast majority of breaches happen because of unpaid working time. You know, things like staff staying 20 minutes late to clean up and lock the doors, or coming in 15 minutes early for a handover. All that extra unpaid time can easily push their average hourly pay below the legal minimum without you even realizing it. And this slide shows you perfectly how camera data becomes the smoking gun. On the left, you've got the official timesheet. It says the employee finished their shift at 10 p.m. sharp. On paper, everything looks fine, completely compliant. But then, on the right, you have the physical reality. ANPR data from the camera in the staff car park shows the employee's car didn't actually leave the premises until 10:47 p.m. That 47-minute gap, that is potential unpaid work, and HMRC now has objective third-party proof. And the consequences here are really serious. HMRC has the power to walk into your business and demand to see your records. They can issue a notice of underpayment for all the back pay you owe, often going back years. But it doesn't stop there. They can slap you with penalties of up to 200% of what you owe, capped at £20,000 per worker. And in the worst cases, they can even pursue a criminal prosecution. This is not just a slap on the wrist. Okay, Section 4, decoding disguised employment. Let's move on to the second major area, and this is a huge one for contractors and freelancers. You'll definitely want to hear this part, especially if you run your own limited company. We are talking about IR35. So, what is IR35 really? Well, in simple terms, it's a set of tax rules designed to stop what HMRC calls disguised employment. This is basically where someone works like a regular employee, same hours, same desk, same boss, but they do it through their own limited company to be more tax efficient. The IR35 rules are there to make sure those people pay roughly the same amount of tax and national insurance as a normal employee would. And here we go again. You see the power of physical evidence. On the left, you have the contractor's agreement, probably drafted by a top lawyer. It says they can work from home, they have full autonomy, they're in charge. On paper, it looks like a slam dunk outside IR35 case. But on the right, the camera evidence tells a totally different story. The ANPR data logs their car in the client's car park every single day, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, for 18 months straight. That pattern is pure gold for an HMRC inspector. It screams employee routine, not independent contractor. And if you think this is all just theory, think again. HMRC is actively going after high-profile names. You've got presenters like Krista Ackroyd and Paul Hawksby who are found to be inside IR35 and ended up owing hundreds of thousands in back tax. Their cases often came down to evidence of client control and being required to work from a specific location. And of course, there's the massive ongoing £4.9 million dispute with Gary Lineker. These cases prove nobody is too famous to be investigated, and your real-world working habits are now under a microscope like never before.
Right. Section 5, surviving the algorithmic eye. Okay, that was a lot to take in, and it's probably a bit unsettling. So the big question is, what on earth can you actually do about it? Let's go through the practical steps you can take to protect yourself and your business.
Let's boil this all down to the key takeaways. First, your physical reality, where you and your staff actually go and when, is now just as critical as your financial paperwork. Second, the old idea of off the books or unrecorded time is basically becoming a technological fantasy. It's all recorded somewhere. Third, for employers, keeping meticulous, accurate records of all staff working hours isn't just a good idea, it is non-negotiable. Fourth, for contractors, what you do every day must truly match the words in your contract. And finally, the only real defense against this kind of surveillance is to be proactively compliant. Don't wait for them to find a problem. So it all comes down to this one crucial question, and it's the one thing I really want you to think about after this. Are your business records, your contracts, and your timesheets strong enough to stand up to this new reality? Can they survive not just a traditional paper audit, but the cold, hard, unblinking eye of a smart city camera?
Okay, and before we finish, a quick but very important disclaimer. All of this information is for general guidance. It is not a substitute for professional advice that is tailored to your unique circumstances. It's absolutely essential you speak to a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. If anything we've talked about today has raised a few red flags for you, the best thing to do is speak with an expert. You can get in touch with the team at Pro Tax Accountant on their website, via email, or you can call or WhatsApp them on 07985 689912. They really are specialists in this area. And for more updates like this, make sure you subscribe to the Pro Tax Accountant channel on YouTube. Thanks so much for your time today.